So I want to talk about whether STEM degrees, science, technology, engineering, mathematics degrees, are actually better than the social sciences and humanities. I think this is a really relevant topic for everybody to sort of think about, and it is not as clear as one would think it would be. So if you don't know me, I'm Professor Dave Masek. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship, and I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There's so many people that help me out that I want to pay the favor forward to help you out. So STEM degrees, we often think of them, the science, technology, engineering, mathematics, as being somehow better than social sciences and humanities because of the outcomes that they actually provide. Maybe they get those jobs actually net higher salaries and wages once they get done. And maybe you'll get some more prestige. For example, the jobs that you get, maybe you go to Silicon Valley or whatever. But you're forgetting a lot of sort of really important points that are going on behind the scenes that suggest that the degrees themselves are not necessarily all that much better than social sciences and humanities degrees. The first one being is that there is a very large selection effect that goes on. So what is that? That is that there is the people that are going into science and engineering, technology, mathematics are not the same as the ones that are going into the social sciences and the humanities. And if you believe that's true, then you're really missing out on a lot of sort of demographic things that are going on behind the scenes. And the other thing that you're missing out is that we're training people or picking people based on a few years that they perform in high school, for example. So they might go into sciences and technology, engineering, mathematics degrees because of their performance in high school in those degrees, the last few years of their high school performance. And then we're basing 2 years, or we're basing an entire career based on 2 years performance, which really doesn't make sense to me. And often it's 1 year's performance, where people just look at their senior grades to get into these different programs. And then we sort of say that there is this fundamental difference between the outcomes that they get. And it's not necessarily true. What is probably going on is that, either those people are a lot more competent and they can actually perform at a higher level to get into those particular programs, or B, maybe they do try at the last little bit and figure it out and get into those particular programs that other people can't get into. And the people that go into the social sciences, and this is a large generalization, I'm not saying this in general, but the people that are going into social science and humanities maybe are still trying to figure things out. And they're always trying to figure things out. They actually don't perform as well. Now, the other thing that we're missing out is that we're greatly simplifying things of these particular degrees. There is huge variance in what people do with these different degrees, and there's huge discipline differences between them, where there is a lot of people that do extremely well in the social sciences and humanities based on the degree that they get. Maybe you go into the creative arts and you do something like you do digital arts and you end up getting working at Pixar, for example, and you end up doing extremely well because you're very talented, versus somebody that, and I hate to say this, but maybe you just get a general biology degree and then you end up working at a waste plant and a pollution control plant or something, where you're just making just better than what the sort of national average is in terms of salary. So there's huge differences in terms of where people can go and what they can do. And we're not sort of capturing that in any sort of way. We're just generalizing and simply saying that these STEM degrees are better somehow than social sciences and humanities. So I think that there is a lot of interesting things that we're forgetting by simply making these generalized statements. Rather, what you should be looking at and thinking about is, what is the capabilities of these individuals that are going into these particular degrees? And where do they actually want to end up? What is the career that they actually want to go into, and what do they actually want to do? Being trained sometimes in the humanities makes a lot of sense to become, say, a general manager or CEO, because then you sort of get a good picture of the world, and you can sort of see and become a little bit more of a visionary than those that don't do those particular things. But the problem is we've got all of these different factors that are mixing in. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention is that there's this large signaling effect. In fact, Michael Spence won a Nobel Prize about this particular idea, is that there's a signaling effect, is that if you get this particular degree, then automatically people assume that you're somehow better. And you also have sort of institutional effects that are going on, is that we've venerated some of these degrees, engineering, for example, and we venerated them, and people think that they're somehow, ritualistically better than other degrees that are out there. And I just simply think that that is not true in any sort of way. You're getting a few extra years of training in something doesn't necessarily mean that it's necessarily better in any sort of way. So there's all these different factors that are mixing in and confusing things, rather than simply looking at, okay, are these people capable? What do they want to do with their life? And if they can't figure out what they want to do with their life, let's start working on that. Let's start helping people trying to figure out what they want to do with their life and giving people support to figure that out. I think that's actually, in my own view, I think that's more the fundamental problem that's going on, is that people don't know what they really want, or they have a lot of social problems that are going on, psychological problems that are going on, and they can't sort of figure it out. And once they can't figure it out, then it makes it hard for them to excel in the life and the world around them, and it holds them back. So if we can figure out those things, if we can help people, get great social support, help people have the resources to figure out who they are and what they want to do, then they're going to excel in this world, and they're going to do really wonderful, amazing things, rather than trying to flounder and figure themselves out at the same time, and figuring out that long hill battle, that big uphill battle, than what other people have probably tried to figure out themselves or already got it figured out themselves. So are STEM degrees, science, technology, engineering, mathematics degrees better? I don't think so. I don't think in any sort of stretch of the imagination. I think that there is many nuances out there that we're forgetting about, and we have to start capturing those things and start telling that story, rather than simply saying that one particular degree or one particular thing is better than something else.